Mediocrity knows nothing better than itself, but talent instantly recognizes the genius, said Sir Arthur Coyle, yeah, the author of Sherlock Holmes. Now, in my life, I have met many people that have recognized the genius in me. And I'm going to talk about few of those instances today. The first one happened when I was in the ninth grade. Now, this is a very weird system we have in Pakistan, or at least in my school, where I got a choice. I got a choice to either study biology or computer science. I wanted to study computer science. It was cool, it was hip, I wanted to do it. But that would mean that I would crush my parents' dream. They wanted me to become a doctor just like my father. And if I didn't study biology in high school, there is no way I could later on study medicine. So it was a hard conversation I had to have with them. But when I first went to the class, I saw that actually about 90% of our class chose to study computer science. So I was not the only one, and I was happy with that fact. But as the weeks passed, the people started to drop. They started to go back to biology. First week, it was 30. The second week, it was 20. By the end of the month, we were just 10 people. About 1.5 months after the class started, we were just 6 people left, and I was one of them. The reason was, of course, our teacher. There was this guy, very slim, short height, but with a very short temper as well. He would get angry just like that. If we didn't do one homework properly, he would be so emotional and shred us apart. He was also very emotional himself, which we could all see, and it was very hard to study from him. On top of that, computer science was not as easy as everyone was thinking it was. So they just all moved back to biology. But I stayed. And as I went through that class, few more months, it turned out that he saw something in me. One day he came to me and said, "Zen, you are good. You are good." And that was the first time someone had ever told me at school that I was good at anything. Really, I was one of the worst students by this time. And I was very happy to finally see a subject that I like and my teacher telling me that I am good. So I got this motivation to continue on that path, which led me to that university where I studied computer science, a career in computer science, to where I am today. So he was one of my first mentors that recognized the genius that I had with this subject. Not long after this incident, in a completely different environment, I was attending an extended family's wedding. And just one of those days, me and few of my family members, cousins, and one of my uncle, we were sitting at the top of the roof in a village, which is very common in Pakistan when the weather is good, and we were just talking. We were talking about the movie we all had just watched, which was Lord of the Rings. It was newly released back then. Then we all loved it, of course, and my uncle was the one who asked that we should watch it, while I had already seen it earlier, so it was for me a second time. And as we were discussing this movie, I started to talk about some unknown facts that they didn't know. For example, that the movie was actually shot in New Zealand, or the fact that these 3 movies were shot all together but released one after another. Now I knew all of that because I have this habit of reading on Wikipedia anything I find interesting for hours and hours and hours while I'm procrastinating, while I should be doing something else. And because of that, I knew these things. Now my uncle, his name is Faisal, he's very tall, taller than me, also very slim, and usually not the kind of person who gives a lot of compliments. But on that day, he looked at me and he said, "Zen, you are good. You are good." And I knew, okay, this is not a bad habit. Yes, I waste some time, but I do get a lot of random information, and I have not stopped. I still do it to this day, even at work sometimes, if nobody is watching. I read about random things. And somehow, when I have to do some tasks, those random things actually come back to me where it matters the most, and I can connect those random dots and create something new. So that was the second person who recognized a special talent I had. Now, the third person is more recent. It was almost exactly 1 year ago, in this exact room, on this exact stage, that I took part in the area contest. And that was a strange occurrence because in our club I finished third. There were two people ahead of me, but they couldn't come to the area contest. So I got a chance to be here. And I gave a speech which barely anyone laughed. It was supposed to be a humorous speech, but it probably got 1 or 2 laughs during the whole time by a couple of people. Everyone else just stayed quiet. And I was nervous. But after the contest, I went out in this exact kitchen while I was drinking coffee. One of the guy, his name is Mihao. He's a very experienced Toastmaster, has done everything in Toastmasters that you can imagine. And a person I respect, he came to me and said, Zen, you are good. You are good. This is the kind of speech that can take you all the way to district and maybe can get you the win. And that was shocking for me. At first I didn't believe him. But he was so earnest in his saying that I thought, okay, if he's saying and he sees something, then I must try to get it there. And I did. I passed the next level. I reached the district finals. And that was all because of his words. Before that, I had absolutely no confidence that I would ever make it to that level. Now, these are just the 3 examples. There were many more people that at different moments in time said something similar. And if it were not for them, maybe I would have still been who I am today. But not at the age of 29 that I am right now, but maybe at the age of 59, because it would have taken me simply much longer to recognize all those talents. Mediocrity never sees something higher than itself, but talent instantly recognizes the genius. Those 3 people recognize the genius in me, and that's what we should be doing for any time we see someone doing something special, telling them, you are good.